teams he had in the mid to late 60s that didn't have enough points to make the state tournament back then, back in the very early days of the state tournament. So I know Tony won one as a player in 1985 with Uncle Bob. That would have been his fourth one. But 70, 72, 78, 85, and 91. Not even like he won them all in a row, even with one group of kids, is probably the most impressive thing that I can pull from that.
Well, he didn't even finish. He has more state championships than his worst years ever at Chillicothe. In those 4 years, there was 4 years where they were tied for fourth or were fourth. Other than that, it was mostly first and second in conference, and a few thirds in there. I mean, that's just unbelievable, isn't it, Coach Gary?
Yeah, I mean, did you say the first one was in the 70s and the last one was in the early 90s?
Yep.
70, 72, 78, 85, and 91.
Yeah,
wow.
So, I mean, to win 5 state championships, I mean, like you said, just even thinking about those dates, I mean, the most shocking thing to me is because usually to win a state championship, you get a really good group of kids through, and you can sometimes win 2, maybe 3, in a row there within a span of 4, 5, 6 years, because you kind of had some good kids coming through. But I mean, to do that over a span of 20+ years, I mean that's phenomenal.
Let me list off the state playoff years, and I don't know what the criteria is for state playoffs. Is it past districts? Is whenever you're considered in the state playoffs, or the districts? Do you know?
At that time, I would say that it would have been anything past the district tournament. Most of those should have been 64-team playoffs, I guess.
Yeah.
That would have been 14 districts.
Okay.
And I think they didn't. I think
Yep.
Missouri didn't really change that rule until about 2003 or 2004, maybe even 05, when they went away from the kind of 4-team district thing.
Okay, 70, 72, 76, 78, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 91, 93, 94, 96, 97. Those are...
Whoa.
His last year.
Wow.
His last 2 years, he's still winning.
Yeah, that's good.
That's crazy.
Longevity.
Yeah.
Longevity.
I mean, and that's tough because, I mean, I know as a coach who, kind of been in my current spot 5 years, sometimes the message gets old or stale, or, the kids say, well, we've kind of heard this rhetoric. And, again, I mean, for him to do that over the course of 20+ years, almost 30 years, that's just, I mean, that's amazing.
And, he had only 3 NFL guys during that time. Justin Bland, which played at Missouri, got drafted by, Rick free agent with the Cincinnati Bengals, got cut, got picked up by the Oakland Raiders in 2003, played in NFL Europe for them, and then went on to be a groundskeeper for at the K, and then the head superintendent groundskeeper at Sporting Parks. So we talk about the preparation in football, your football life, but the preparation he put into these young men to go on and succeed in other areas, right, Coach Eric?
Yeah, he had a lot of really good ones, and both of my parents would have been in high school during that '78 championship, and just having been around some of their classmates, just a lot of great people. Veterinarian Ross there in Chillicothe. Just man after man after man that went through the program.
Did you grow up watching Jeff Marriott much?
Yeah, he would have. There were some of my early trips to Chillicothe or to Columbia to watch the Tigers.
96, 97, 98, and 99.
Yeah.
4-year Letterman there.
Yeah, and those were, I mean, like I can remember the kick game vividly, um, where I was when I watched it, and I mean I was 10 at the time, just and that would have been about the time that my grandfather Rich got sick, and I can remember those times very vividly. Those Corby Jones Tigers that Jeff played with, and um, just he was a fantastic player.
Well, and he got drafted by the Patriots in the 5th round in 2000 as the 161st pick overall. After being cut, Marriott spent a little time in Jacksonville, St. Louis, and Carolina. So the other one, Adrian Johnson, which none of us would remember, but that's do you remember him, guys? Anybody? I don't, but went on to play in the pros as well.
This is something that I wanted to touch on. I'm Tyler. You have my condolences, man. So, but one of the things I'm sure you really appreciate is the lasting effect that your grandfather's had. Now you have to have people coming out of the woodworks, you know, that have had successful lives and been successful. A large part of it is due to that influence that he had on them. So, you know, I guess what I'm trying to say is, or maybe you can fill me in. Have you had those people come out and say, you know, I'm sorry, but you know he had this impact on my life, that, you know, he taught me this life lesson, or he did this for me, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I think he prepared just so many of those guys. I mean, one of the worst parts at this point is that so many of them have moved away from Chillicothe.
Yeah.
Just not people that I would necessarily get to see nearly as much. But yeah, I remember sitting with David McCoubrey, who was a fantastic player back in the 70s.
Played at Mizzou too.
Yeah, and he told me one day, he said, your grandfather he taught me how to catch football. Like,
Wow,
It's huge.
well, like there was a secret to it almost. Not like hey, you take your hands and you catch the ball. Just a very in-depth way that he was able to explain things to people, to talk to people, again, my grandfather Rich spent a ton of time doing the Show Me games, working with that organization, what they're able to do, and Bob spending as many years in administration as he did. You know, they've been able to touch a lot of people.
Yeah. What is one of your fondest memories, you know, of being around your Uncle Bob, you know, over your lifetime?
Honestly, that sophomore year of high school, whenever I was able to play for him and his son Dave, it was every day we would rep and rep and rep the same play over and over and over. I mean, you're running 36 counter pitch out of the old T formation, just over and over again. I mean, we would do it one direction 15 times. We would flip it. We would go the other direction 25 times. That was back in the day that you could still have two a day.
Yeah.
So you get up in the morning and go. You'd sleep all day because you were exhausted, and then you would get back up and head back out at about 5 because it was so hot. And I mean, we would start those practices at 5 or 5:30, and we would actually have to turn the lights on to finish them. I mean, that's the amount of attention to detail that they paid. It wasn't like we were running the whole time. It's not like we were wasting time, or there was that much attention paid to every block, every man, all 22 people on the field. They wanted to know what blade of grass you were on. You didn't want to be one blade left. You didn't want to be one blade right. You wanted to be right where you were supposed to be. And I mean, we would just rep those run plays over and over and over again. I mean, that will always probably be my lasting memory. And then after the games were over, we would go to Dave's house. But Bob would kind of hold court there at the dining room table, and I can still see him sitting there, just telling stories. And I mean, at the time he would have been in his early 70s, and just I mean. You knew he was in decent health. You knew he was going to be okay, but you wanted every story you could get. You wanted one more, and his ability to remember what play was ran in 1972, and who was carrying the football, and just the attention that he paid to everything, and the way that he was able to get the most out of everything that he wanted.
Well, and I didn't realize this until I read the obituary. I know he spent time in Skidmore, but I thought he coached football there. 30-win season his first year in his teaching career in 1959. 30 wins in basketball, and then he went on and went to Mount City. That's where he picked up football. But your grandfather and Bob both. Did your grandfather start out? Did Rich start out in Skidmore too?
Yep, he did.
And then he went up to Iowa somewhere, which these two guys over here would probably be happy about that.
Yeah. Rich was considerably younger. I haven't sat down and had all the stories yet. Bob spent some time in the military, I believe the Navy.
Yeah, he was in the military before he went to college. You're right.
Yeah, and then by the time he got back, he and Rich were kind of started on the coaching path at a very similar time, following his time in the military, and they, I believe, both went to the old Tarkio College, and got their education there, and that was kind of the start of all of it in Northwest Missouri. My grandfather, Richard, actually Skidmore, spent some time at Oregon, and then South Holt after they consolidated with Forest City, and then they spent some time up in Iowa at Trainer, and then he came back to Chillicothe with Uncle Bob's help. He got him on as the basketball coach. He was able to have a lot of success through many years doing that also, both on the boys and girls side. They've had great success, and I'm proud of all of them.
Well, and just think your grandfather died fairly young. What year did he pass?
97, I believe.
Yeah. So that would have been Bob's last year coaching, but he could have went on and had many more state champions. He was a great basketball coach too, but I was looking at this overall record. Bob's 37-year career record: 307 wins, 79 losses, and 5 ties.
Wow.
Yep.
That's
Eric,
unbelievable.
If you do that at LeBlanc, you'll be like the mayor of St. Joe.
Well,